Under the theme Bridging Continental and Global Education Frameworks for the Africa We Want, African education ministers are converging in Nairobi to find ways of injecting new impetus in the sector. Over the last 2 years, the Kenyan education sector has gone through various reforms that have had great impact on the sector. This week, the government will be looking to build on these successes as education stakeholders from the continent gather in Nairobi to discuss matters pertaining to education.
We realized that we needed to come together frequently to just assess where we are, to take stock of how much we've implemented, both the SDG 4, but also CESA, in order to continue participating in the conversations around the world on education.
Education Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Amina Mohammed underpinning Kenya's intention to use the high-level engagement to push for equal rights in the education sector.
Without a strong foundation in education, nothing else actually happens in any country. So for us to develop and to develop sustainably, we must make sure that we make the right investments, we build the right capacity for our education sectors across the continent.
The conference will identify challenges and opportunities in the further alignment of educational systems in view of ensuring transformative education for Africa. The conference, however, comes at a time lecturers have turned their backs on lecture halls, demanding the implementation of the 2017-2021 collective bargaining agreement.
I can tell you, standing here, that we are doing everything possible to make sure that we bring this to a close as soon as possible.
Chuka University Vice-Chancellor Professor Erastus Njoka calling on striking lecturers to give dialogue a chance.
Wale unions na waasisi zote tuketi chini tusikize vile tunaambiwa.
If these youth are not educated.
Meanwhile, a youth forum will be held in Nairobi on Tuesday to take stock of the successes achieved by young people in the education sector.
We will make space for them so that during the technical meetings and during the conference of ministers, which will take place on Friday, they will have a space to present their recommendations and their conclusions, and they will hopefully be taken into account in the final conclusions of the ministers.
Roland Ngia, Regional Director of Plan International, said the conference will provide recommendations for broad engagement of young people in education reforms and research in Africa. For Channel 1 News Hour, I am Edward Kabasa.